Hello everyone. Sorry I missed an upload last week. I got very sick and I had some other stuff to deal with, but that's mostly out of the way now. And I wanted to talk about a film that I just watched a few days ago, actually, a very special one called KOYAANISQATSI, which came out in 1982 and is directed by Godfrey Reggio. This is an old one, of course, and I wanted to cover it because not a huge amount of people have seen or heard about it, and I wanted to hopefully introduce it to a group of people who may never have seen it otherwise, because it is a very, very good movie, a very special one, a very unique one, a very different one, and different for a reason as well. A difficult one to categorize. Some people like to call it a documentary, but I think the best way to describe it would be an experimental film. And usually I'm not really a fan of that word because I think it is very vague. It basically applies to all movies when you think about it, but this is one of the few that is really deserving of that title. And what this film is basically a feature-length music video or a feature-length montage. It's 90 minutes of just sound and music and images. There are no characters, there is no plot, there is no story, and there are no words, no narration. Um, and some people will look at that premise and find it very gimmicky. They won't really see the point in it. Why would you make a movie without story or without plot? And the thing about that is, story is really just a commodity in film. I mean, it's a large part of a lot of movies, of course, but it isn't really what a film specializes in. I mean, what movies mainly do is convey moods and feelings through the sound and images. That's what separates them from books, for example, or just a lot of other mediums. That's what makes film so special. And this is a movie that really understands that, because it has no dialogue and it's never telling you what to think while watching it. It really encourages your mind to sort of wander and get all sorts of ideas out of it on your own. And it makes you really feel free. I mean, I hate using this word to describe it, but it is an experience. It's less of a story with plot and characters and more of just like a journey. It's an experience. It's like a nice hike up a hill. I think that's one way you could think of it. I mean, but other than that, this is one of the best looking movies I've seen in a very, very long time. The cinematography is it is incredible. I mean, some of the shots in the film, especially in the later half of it, are incredible. I have no idea how they got them myself. And there is also a 20-minute stretch, I would say. The 20-minute stretch at the last, around the last part of the film, which just goes on and is incredible. I mean, it completely blew me away. I was completely in awe while watching it. And I also have to mention definitely the score, which is done by Philip Glass, which is another one of my favorites, a favorite soundtrack of mine. Even before I watched this movie, I actually listened to it. It's an amazing soundtrack, and it goes very, very well with the film. And I also like how, as the film progresses, the soundtrack sort of progresses with the movie as well. It starts off very orchestral, almost like you're in a church, obviously with like the ancient cave paintings. And then as the movie goes on, and it shows more of development, more of like the cityscapes and traffic. The soundtrack also evolves as well. It becomes like this synth score. Um, I mean, yeah, to me, everything about this film goes very, very well together. It's one of those movies that's really difficult to criticize. But if I did have one criticism, I guess, like a small one, um, I think I would have preferred a little more subtlety on where the film itself stands. And what I mean by that is that the title of the film, Koyanisqatsi, translates to life out of balance, or life in turmoil, or crazy life, or a state of living that calls for another way of sorry, a state of life that calls for another way of living. And I mean, I agree with that sentiment. I agree with what the movie is saying, definitely. I don't think those translations were really necessary to be included in the film. I think the movie kind of speaks for itself, and I sort of wish the film went all the way with what it was trying to do. That it wasn't even named anything. That it didn't have any words, like no text, even no credits. So that way, it was just entirely interpretable. Because I do think just the visuals and the music by themselves are strong enough. But I get that that's kind of a lot to ask for, to not name a movie anything, and it doesn't affect the film itself. It is just a small nitpick, and I don't just want to seem like a sheep while praising it, because I fully acknowledge that this is not a film for everyone. Some people will find it very boring, very frustrating, very repetitive, even annoying, and some people will find it very enlightening and very moving and really incredible. And other people will, be right down the middle. It is one of those films with very little objectivity to it. It's one that I could see two prominent critics watching, and one giving it a 10 out of 10 and another one giving it a 5 out of 10, and both of them presenting like perfectly reasonable arguments for both sides, and having both of those arguments being completely valid. But still, I would definitely recommend this movie, because worth I think it is worth checking out and seeing if it is for you. I think if you're someone who really appreciates just like, say for example, maybe the ending of 2001: A Space Odyssey, if you really like that kind of stuff, you will definitely enjoy this film. It is a very unique watch. It's only 90 minutes, and it's not a huge investment. So I think the best way to go into it is just clear your mind, clear any expectations you may have about it, and just, watch it in a nice dark room with good sound, and just let it sweep over you. Don't question it while you're watching it, and just let it happen. It is on Amazon Prime at the moment, so it's not like hard to find. It's not hard to watch. It's definitely worth a watch, and it's a very good film, of course. Um, but yeah, I think that's all I have to say at the moment. I have a Twitter in the description. I don't use Twitter. I never do, but everyone has a Twitter. So I'll just have a Twitter as well and not use it. You could follow me there, I guess. And I also have a letterboxd, which I actually use quite often, which is where I log films and occasionally review them. You can follow me there to see what I've been doing lately. And I think that'll be it for now. I will talk to you all next time.